pretty. We all do with that face.
So the story follows Joey King as Tally Youngblood, a 25-year-old playing a 15-year-old. Since she keeps getting younger in all her streaming originals, she lives in a world where no one recycled, so society collapsed as pollution and wars took over the older people known as the Rusties. She now lives in Uglyville, where she has her own mirror with a filter that lets her know what she's going to look like when she gets to live in Prettyville. This movie costs millions. She's best friends with Paris, who's nicknamed Nose, while hers is Squints, since they based them off of the trait that stands out the most, and they're literal blood buddies who made a pact to stick together even after their surgeries. They do not stick together after their surgeries. And if you haven't noticed, a Netflix Ugly is like a MTV mid. Since he's older, he gets transformed first and dips, while she's left being scanned more than a movie star. And then her texts go gray. Whoa. Because she can't take a hit, she decides to sneak into Prettyville by jumping onto the bridge, where she has to disguise herself by wearing a pig mask in order to fit in with the pretties. She's not that ugly. What's funny is that it gives her a complete makeover, dress and all, yet when she finds Paris, she's surprised to get friend-zoned.
Things are just different here. I mean, you'll get it when you're pretty.
She's so ugly that they sound the alarms, so she has to grab one of those handy-dandy bungee vests that they, of course, have laying around, and Tom cruises her way out of there as she bumps into a girl named Skinny on a hoverboard.
How are we not already friends?
Wade ends up becoming a nickname since making them factions were definitely on Netflix canceled, and so Squint and Skinny start to bond. It turns out that they have the same birthday, they go to hoverboard school together, and practically become a couple until Tally learns that Shay doesn't want to become a pretty.
I think age lines are kind of cool. No, you don't.
Shay's plan is to run away and join the Smoke, which is a secret group run by this dude named David, who also doesn't want to have surgery. Shay also doesn't have social media. She tries to radicalize Tally since she's already glitching the system, but then Tally gets enlightened when she hits the biggest drug of them all.
Is that a book?
One day, however, Shay dips, leaving Tally with a code as she gets called up to headquarters, where she gets to meet the big baddie Dr. Cable, the one transitioning kids. Netflix, what you doing? Cable tells Tally that she's going to delay her surgery unless she can lead them to wherever Shay went, since Cable sees the Smoke as the enemies who are building a weapon in order to take over her, and that Shay's also been brainwashed because of it.
I need you to find the Smoke.
So after 5 minutes and a visit from her best friend for now, she agrees.
I'm glad you decided to help us, Tally.
The plan is to have Tally infiltrate the Smoke by following the code that Shay gave her and mapping them out, and then tracking her with the necklace that they give her. But it ends up sending her on a Super Mario mission.
No one's ever made it alone. You don't find that suspicious?
Of course it is. But if she did do it alone, we need her.
How have they survived? Tally gets rescued by David, who then becomes the next love interest, and she gets taken to his group where she reunites with Shay, who she straight up lies to about the necklace, and then has her vouch on her behalf.
Why would they believe me?
People believe what they want to believe. Use that to your advantage.
Convenient. So now she's living with them like an avatar, learning the ways of the Smoke, dancing, laughing, training, doing an episode of Hot Ones.
Sorry, I've never had anything so spicy.
It's a real Dances with Uglies. After going on missions that almost get her killed, David sees her as one of them, and she gets to join their utopia behind the mountains that blocks out all the Prettyville scanners. And this girl's checking under doors like nuclear weapons are just gonna be hidden in plain sight. She really thinks she's in a video game.
This is
Not your business.
She learns that David was actually born and raised there, and is surprised when she meets his parents and notices that they look alike. After complimenting their casting, she opens up about her parents giving her up so that they can live in the city, and that leads to this really beautiful moment where he connects with her and gives her these gloves for her ugly hands.
for me? Thank you.
That said, the group doesn't really trust her, including Shay, who's tallied up how many times she can't make up her mind, and after more and more team members keep getting tracked and attacked, it causes David to give her an ultimatum.
Some say that you radicalize people.
All social change is seen as radical at first.
By this point, she's learned about the white flowers that they've planted, which are actually hurting the planet since it sucks out all of the nutrients, and that forces people to not live out in the wasteland, but to have to head into the city so that Cable can govern over them. That's why these kids are out there with flame-throwing helicopters, since they want to end the apocalypse now. David's parents also give her the LME on what's really happening with the surgeries and how they erase who you are. This girl didn't even realize people were going missing because they were dying, but that's because the surgery doesn't just change how they look, but how they see. Turns out it controls the entire way they think by altering their minds.
The lesions were not a side effect of the surgery. They were the purpose.
That's why David's parents left and have been fighting the good fight against Cable's company and are hoping to cut the cord and find a cure, but it's been an upstream battle. That's what causes Tally to burn her necklace and finally reveal to David who she really is. Kinda. He's too busy smooshing though. Obviously, Cable still has her location on, so she's able to pull up with Paris and a whole army who look like super duper Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, known as the Specials. And Paris immediately zods the dad's neck. That leads Tally to snitch on herself, but it's literally too late. So this girl creates a diversion and runs her ugly ass away as the smoke goes up in flames.
Listen.
Literally his worst trait. Like, his dad's dead, and he still finds a way to forgive her because she says that she can sneak him into the city and make amends. Like, that doesn't change the ugly thing you just did.
You don't have to trust me.
Just have to follow me.
She then becomes the Mockingjay and has the sky catch fire in order to cause an uprising. And then they use those bungee vests again with some Spy Kids 3D graphics. Then they pull the easiest break-in and prison escape I've seen in a movie. Like, the kissing booth had bigger obstacles. Do you know how bad a movie's gotta be for that to be better?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. They free all the people from the smoke, and luckily the mom was there just leading the way, and she takes them straight to Shay, who's been yassified. Cable then forces them into the surgery pods and gives a whole speech about how they shouldn't be free thinkers, so that way they can actually be happy. And besides me not liking the direction of the movie, right? Or the acting, effects, music, and editing, it's not a bad metaphor for what's happening. Obviously, beauty standards have always been a thing. You know, they've defined the world since cave paintings, and there have been really great movies about the subject. Recently, we have The Substance, and that talks about how you're morphing how you see yourself because of everything around you. The Neon Demon is a little wild, but it covered beauty as if it was a currency. Schumer's I Feel Pretty should just be skipped. But it's crazy that the first book for this series was written before social media was even a thing like it is, since that was way back in 2005. It's just funny that this is a movie franchise that it feels guilty of the thing it's trying to call out.
But I won't be me.
No, but you sure will be pretty.
Their transformations then get stopped by the fire helicopter that comes in to rescue them, by almost turning them into toast, but that leads to another escape where they run into Paris on the rooftop, who starts to squint and remember their history when he gets another scar in his hand that reminds him of the bond that they made. But that said, David also gets a flashback, and he beats him over the edge. Look, I'm sure he'll come back. They'll keep him on the Outer Banks. David's mom then reveals that she snatched what she needed in order to make the cure and put it in David's OtterBox fanny pack, since that vial survived even with all the tussling. Problem is that they need a consenting test subject, which means that Tally gets to make the noble sacrifice of doing the thing she wanted to do at the beginning of the movie.
I'm gonna make this right.
In the end, she volunteers as tribute as the movie cuts to black, and we see Tally ask the mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all?